What do art caves, cubicles, and pinups have to do with creativity? Find out on this month's episode of the PepTalk Creative Corner Podcast. Hello and welcome to the PepTalk Creative Corner Podcast.
Woo-hoo!
I'm Katie Silverwings.
And I'm Allie of Allie D Art.
And we are joined today by our special guest from the Memphis art scene.
Our bestie.
Shawn Howe, also known as Shawnzilla.
Who we have been so excited to get on the show ever since we started thinking about doing the show. So welcome, Shawn.
Hey, Shawn.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today. And we are super excited to talk to you about your art and creativity, and also to have you share a bit about all of that with our lovely audience.
Y'all, Shawn has been such a great con friend and regular life friend for the entire time that I've been doing conventions. I'm like, if I'm ever at a show and I see that Shawn's there, I'm making a beeline for his table to go and say hi. Like, he's so fun to talk to. So today's gonna be a lot of fun.
And to be fair, if you have ever come to a Comic Con or collectibles or toy event anywhere near Memphis and seen the lovely wall behind Shawn's booth with all of his different art pieces, this is the guy with the Bob Ross holding Baby Yoda image.
And he basically is Bob Ross. He's been told that.
So this is going to be fun for all of us. So, Allie, do you want to start us off with our first question?
You know what? I would love to. All right, Shawn, here we go.
Hi.
Hi. So, let's get started with, how did you get started with what you do, with the art that you make?
That's a very good question. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s. That's when I was really into comic books. I had a huge influence from the Image Comics artists,
Ooh,
Jim
cool.
Lee, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld. Comics weren't exactly really cool back then.
True.
You know, you were kind of looked at kind of weird if you were into comics. But, you know, I tried to get influences from those guys because they made it look very cool and they made it look like it was more mainstream acceptable. But when I got out of high school and got into college and started majoring in art at the University of Memphis, I burned out completely
Uh-oh.
and did not draw again for like 13 years.
Really?
Yeah. And just one day I'm actually getting some tattoo work done, and a tattoo friend of mine was like, "Hey, didn't you used to draw in high school or something?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You really need to look into tattooing." I was like, "Okay," you know, because at that time I was kind of moving from JOB to JOB, you know, nothing major, and I kind of wanted some kind of direction. And so I got back into kind of sketching things out a little bit and just trying it out to see if I still could. And I ended up with a completely different style than I used to have.
What was your old style like, if I can ask?
Really trying to be Mark Silvestri and Jim Lee.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. Very 90s comics, you know, big guns, big muscles. And then I developed more of a realistic style.
Mm.
And that's what I always wanted to do. Like, I always loved Frank Frazetta, Alex Ross, Drew Struzan, you know, those guys, but that always seemed pretty unattainable.
Right.
And it still does. But I'm closer to it than I was before. So I got back into drawing and just kind of doing it on the side, you know, putting Facebook ads up, you know, "Hey, I'll draw your portrait for next to nothing," you know, just to get some extra money. And of course, even though I was doing like two-person graphite portraits for like $50, you know, I was still like, "Oh, this isn't what I wanted to do." But a couple of friends convinced me to start doing comic conventions, start doing comic art again, but doing it in my style. And since 2017, it's been what I do.
Wow, so it's almost your 10-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Almost.
Yeah, I've always noticed that your style, like, if y'all haven't seen Shawn's art, you really need to go check it out on his Instagram, which we'll plug at the end of the episode. But your art style has such a cool blend of realism and comic book inspiration. So I'm really like not even surprised to see like that you're saying that you were inspired by comics, because like yes, there is the realistic, the proportions are right, the colors are right, but then there's that almost
impressionistic.
yeah, the kind of fantastical nature of that comics have.
Well, if Degas had encountered comic books.
Oh, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Like the pastel work of the ballet dancers, I can see a little bit of that sort of stylistic stuff mixed with comics, and that gets you a little bit closer to what Shawn does.
Degas comics, Degomics.
Degomics.
Degomics, yeah.
I was calling my style stylized realism for a minute, and that seems to work, but now it's just...
a bit of that impressionistic as well in it.
And something I've also noticed with your business as you've grown it over the years is that you're always seeming to add new things to your line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's not just prints. Like, what are some other things that you've kind of added over the years?
Well, I got into doing buttons, keychains, and magnets because I noticed a lot of times people, you know, like they'll be looking at your stuff at a show, but they're like, "Oh, I've spent so much money already," and you know, the economy has not been great lately, so everybody's kind of feeling a bit of a pinch. And why would I limit myself to just people who can, you know, pay hundreds of dollars for originals, or you know, even $20 for a print? Sometimes that's more than a kid has, but they really like that Ghost Rider picture that I did. So getting a keychain for $5 or $7 or whatever, that, you know, that makes it more accessible.
Yeah, and that actually lends in really well to our second half of the first question, which, Allie, do you want to ask it?
So, yeah, that does lend in well to the second part of the question of what does your process look like as you're creating your art or creating your products?
It's a mix between, as far as like the theme of it, you know, the subject of the piece, it's a mix between I've always wanted to do this, or I've always loved this character and I haven't seen any art of that character lately, or oh wow, that character's super popular right now and I need to go ahead and get on that train. Because at the end of the day, it is a business.
Yes.
And for over 5 years, it was my full-time job. I have since, you know, gone back and done a day job now just to kind of stabilize things because it's been a little off. But the plan is to get back to doing this full-time. So my in progress stack is massive at the moment. You know, I mean, I normally work on about 40 at a time.
40? I thought you were going to say 4.
No.
Whoa, 40. That's awesome.
No, ADD is real, kids.
Hey, right on.
Right now, my in-progress stack is over 200.
Wow.
Just because I will start something new because I'm like, okay, if I don't do this, I'll forget it. And I think this is going to be a really cool piece. And I've got to at least get it on paper, you know, and then I can kind of finish it out later.
That's great. So you don't lose track of those ideas, right?
Still lose track of the ideas.
But they're there at least, right?
My whiteboard looks like a serial killer. It's all over the place.
I can sympathize. My characters do the same thing to me with stories. You do not want to know how many of those. I have drafts of different things, or in my workshop, I have piles of stained glass pieces that are in various states of progress because you just have to get that first bit down. And then you finish it later.
And that's like what sketchbooks are so good for, too. I'm like, I have all these sketchbooks from over the years I have to keep going back to, and then I'll find this old idea. I'm like, wait, that was a great idea. And there, it was saved. It's kind of like saving something on your computer. Yeah. You can go back to it.
See, I've just recently started going back to doing sketchbooks because I got so wrapped up in everything I do has to make money.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And like, I quit doing graphite work. I quit doing, you know, just little fun doodles, just anything. Everything I did had to be, you know, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And I really hated that aspect of it. That's why I was like, okay, let me go and get another job just to kind of take the pressure off of this. Because when you're putting so much pressure on yourself and then something doesn't sell right away, it puts you in kind of a pit where you don't want to work anymore, but you know you need to, but you don't want to, because it's like, what's the point?
You know, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I've been feeling the exact same thing lately. Because, like, I keep on trying out new ideas, but I find I do them at the wrong shows. Like, at my last little market, I tried to put out pillows. Now, I know those pillows would have done great at a Comic Con, but I was at a little Christmas market, and so they didn't move at all. And so I'm like, you know what, instead of just forget the whole pillow idea, I'm like, I'm going to wait, give them another chance, you know?
I've noticed anytime I introduce something new, most times at the first couple of shows, they don't really move. I try to give everything about 5 shows before I say, no, that's not going to work. And then, you know, because there are some shows where I don't sell a single button or keychain or magnet or sticker or anything like that. And then there's some shows where that's all I sell.
Isn't that weird?
It is. It's so weird. And anything that I think, oh, wow, I'm running really low on this particular print, let me go and stock up on that. That almost guarantees I won't sell a single one of those prints that weekend.
I also want to touch back on another point that you brought up about that it's so important to enjoy the creative process and not have everything be for money. Like, again, like everything you've been saying, I still relate to. Like, just this morning, I like kind of give myself what I call my Saturday morning doodles, where I give myself permission to draw anything I want, and I just have fun. So, like, this morning, I drew a GameCube controller, and I'm like, this was so much fun. Why don't I do this more often? And then that's where my best ideas come from, and then that makes money in the long run. So, it's like allowing yourself to be creative, to be free, to draw what makes you happy. That kind of takes care of the problem of, is it going to make money? Because it's answering the problem of, does this bring me joy or not?
Yeah. And it shows in your work. When you are happy doing something, not to everybody, you know, it's not, you know, some people are going to look at it and go, oh, that's just a cool picture of Deadpool or whatever. But for other people, they can tell, you know, you had a lot of fun drawing this, didn't you? And that always makes me happy because, you know, the truth of the matter is we're selling something that people don't need.
True.
You know, this isn't, you know, something that is, it's usually something that's budgeted as a splurge. And, you know, if they like Deadpool or Batman or whatever, they can usually go to Five Below and buy a poster for $5. But a lot of times they want something that someone created.
Right.
You know, they don't want the same cookie cutter piece that everybody else has, which is fine and wonderful because that helps.
Yeah.
But I love it when someone looks at my work and just really sees it and sees what's going on in there. And they're like, you look like you had fun with this. And I'm like, yeah, actually I did. And
they're going to feel that joy every time they look at it. So it's like you're not just selling your product, you're selling your joy. You're selling your passion, which there's no dollar sign that could be assigned to that.
Yeah, and in the kind of artwork that both of you do that is very pop culture centered, the shared joy of the artist who made this loves the thing I love as much as I do. I want their version of it because we both love this thing is a big part of why artist alleys exist in the first place. And there's that whole, my favorite quote that I'm going to bring up time and time again on this show from the Jim Henson Storyteller series.
I'm okay with anything Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Y'all probably will recognize this then. There is a specific episode where the storyteller is the center of the story himself, and he has this long speech explaining to this king why they should employ him. And my favorite part is, I am not domestic, I am a luxury, and in that sense, necessary.
Oh, I love that.
And as a stained glass artist trying to get people to buy shiny things, I definitely feel that it's not necessary for survival. But if you're going to have some money set aside to spend on fun things, why would you spend the money on the tiny little things you can get anywhere when you can get something that one of us has made for you?
So it's like it's necessary for the health of your soul, basically.
Yeah. It's the, I'm a luxury product. I'm aware of that. Thank you so much for budgeting some of your money to share and to support what I do. And I do see time and time again, just like with some of Allie's products that come by my table again and again, I see so many very, very happy people coming by to when they have seen Shawn before they walk by my table. I see the Shawn prints walking by, and it's just, oh yes, that's one of my favorite of those. I'm so happy that person has picked it. Or my table is next to Shawn's sometimes, which is so much fun. MCFC used to put Shawn and Allie and me all in the same spot.
Oh,
and it was just getting to see the excited faces of people coming up to Shawn's table and saying, oh, I love that piece. I want that print. Or taking advantage of that buy so many prints for a discount thing. It's like, I want this one and this one and this one. And is that Bob Ross with Baby Yoda?
It sure is.
And it's just the excitement and the joy of the people who come by your table, and trying to get a chance to ask you a question during a con is practically impossible, because every time I try to approach you, there are 6 people looking through your books or those binders that you have that have all the different pictures that are not up on display. It is amazing.
Yeah, just the body of work that you have. Like, it doesn't even now surprise me that you have 200 in process. I'm like, you just have so much. I'm just like, you're a machine. How do you do this? That's incredible.
And the thing is, I have the worst work ethic.
Do you really?
I really do.
I find that hard to believe.
I will go through sporadic moments where I'm like, I'm finishing 5 or 6 of these, boom, 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 and I'll finish them back to back. Like recently, I just had like a few days where I was like, new piece, new piece, new piece.
Didn't you just put out it was a Gambit one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that one was so cool.
Yeah, I saw you like that.
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Because Gambit's always popular.
Oh my gosh, give me some more Gambit.
For real. But then there's other times, like, I'll go a couple of months without completing anything because I have so much other stuff going on. I am still a single dad. I do still have kids at home.
Well, I think we're at a good point to get back on topic, though, with our next question.
Yeah,
that does kind of lean into what you were just talking about, too.
Segue.
That's my job. I am the segue creature.
Thank you, Segue Queen. Okay, so segueing into our next question. So, where does creativity come into your whole process, your life, your business, everything? How do you feel like you're not just draw, picture, send out? There's a creative spirit in there. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that comes in?
And with you specifically, because of what you've already mentioned, we're going to add a little extra to this question of how do you manage that creative burnout or creative business person burnout that we've been talking about here? I know there's some stuff.
I have no idea. I want to know how.
We can talk about it then,
yeah,
right?
That's one of those things that the creativity also comes into. The how do you keep being creative when you're dealing with all that stress?
I think something that I've heard from your answers and our conversation is that it sounds like you've accepted your creative process, that you've accepted that sometimes you're going to bust out a whole bunch, and then sometimes you're going to have time where you have to focus on your family or your job. Mm-hmm. I think that's such a healthy thing to do, is allowing yourself to take your time or to bust out a bunch and just accept yourself for who you are as an artist, and not trying to be super artist and bust out everything all at once, all the time, go, 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 burnout, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, just allowing yourself to be the type of creative that you are.
I'm still trying to find the middle ground on that, mm-hmm. because it does get frustrating when the same people see you at shows and mm-hmm. their first question is, what do you have that's new? Mm-hmm. And it's not that they're being rude about it. It's that they literally have all the other stuff.
Right.
And, I've got over 300 images in my catalog now.
Is that all?
Is that it? Yeah. But I try to continuously have new stuff, and right. I try to listen to people at shows. My daughter had suggested a suggestion box.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
She's like, because not everybody can afford a commission, obviously, and that I don't want to make anyone feel bad that they can't get a commission.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I have so many people who come up with great ideas
Right?
for stuff. I mean, I had a friend drop off a Star Wars sketch cover.
Ooh.
No, I'm sorry. He dropped off a Transformers sketch cover, but he wanted Starscream fighting Darth Vader on the cover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And he's like, if you could do it this way. And I'm like, that's awesome.
And you
I'm
know what?
absolutely going to steal that.
That kind of makes me think that that is such a healthy way to fight against AI. Because, like, he could have just gone onto the internet to whatever program and said, make me a picture of so-and-so fighting so-and-so. But no, he's going and supporting an artist.
There's a radio station in Memphis. I think it's 102. That's one of their slogans and what their little station identifications are. They say guaranteed human.
Nice. Oh, I like that. Guaranteed human.
Yeah.
People do value what artists and artisans like us do, that it's real. And it's kind of like there's this phenomena in paleontology museums where you go in and you see these huge skeletons, and whether they were cast from an original or not, it's still showing the whole thing as science knows it. But the number one question that people in those museums get is, are the bones real? Because humans want real.
We do.
And the artists that we have on this podcast are all real.
Yes.
So since we've got our lovely real artist here, I think we're about ready to start asking him one more question. What's our next question?
All right. So our next question, I love this one, is kind of about motivation. So we know that creativity takes a lot of motivation. So what keeps you coming back to art?
Or alternately, why, of all the things you could be doing, do you choose to keep doing this?
Exactly.
Because it's a number of things, but the main factors, I used to say money. Okay, I did. Because people would say, what's your motivation? And I'd say, I got an electric bill.
Oh, I mean,
and it was, and the kids would make jokes. They're like, oh, the electric bill's kind of high. Dad needs to go draw pinup girls or something. But that's not it. And that 13 years that I didn't draw, I wasn't happy. And I didn't really realize I wasn't happy. When I sat down and put pencil to paper again, I was scared because I was like, sure, this is not going to be what I used to do. I know that, but I was relieved that it didn't suck completely. But now it's a number of things in that it's something I can control because there's so much of your life that you can't control. It's something that I can do to make me happy. I mean, there's art pieces in my portfolio that I did that make me happy that I didn't do because I thought they would sell. It's something that, I've wanted to draw this since I was 17 or whatever, And I did that for me. And it always makes me happy when those sell.
Right.
It's like, yeah.
So what's an example, real quick, what's an example of one of those that you drew just for yourself?
I did... It's not necessarily a pinup, but it's those old movies of like the 20s and 30s, and they have like the Jessica Rabbit type singer, lady in there.
Yeah, so the noir pinup kind
right,
of.
Right.
Very nice. Yeah.
And it's not revealing or anything like that. It's literally just focused on her face, her shoulders, and like an old-timey microphone.
Ooh.
I love that piece.
Have I seen this one, you think?
You probably haven't.
Okay, I want to see it when we have a chance.
Yeah, I'll shoot it over to you.
Very cool.
I just recently sold that original.
Good for you.
Yeah, and it sold a lot of prints for a while, and then it kind of fell off a little bit, and then it kind of picked back up. Things go in waves. That's one that I really wanted to draw. Like, because I would watch these noir thriller type movies, the old Cary Grant, or not Cary Grant, James Cagney and stuff like that. And I always loved that aesthetic. And that's part of why I loved Batman the Animated Series, because it had that cool Art Deco aesthetic, and it had that feel to it.
Did, yeah.
And I did that piece, and it's a favorite of a lot of people. So
I think it's probably a favorite partially because it's one of your favorites. Again, going back to that joy that we can see through your work.
Yeah.
And I just so relate to that, like, that time of not drawing. It's just so much a part of who you are that to not create, to not be creative, feels like you're missing part of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like for many of us creatives, just the term of either creative, crafter, artist, musician, it becomes so ingrained in our personality, in our soul, basically, that we have to answer that calling to create. Or else we feel a sense of emptiness.
Yeah. And another factor is I realize I'm getting older. Okay.
Same.
Yeah. And when you see people who you admired their work, when you see people pass away, you're left with their work. You know, when Drew Struzan passed away, we're left with all those gorgeous movie posters he painted.
Right, yeah.
When Ozzy Osbourne passed away, you know, who doesn't know Crazy Train?
Right.
I mean, for real, you know. And I think to myself, I have a lot of stuff I want to paint. And that starts making you look at it and go, okay, I need to, you know, I could go to sleep right now and I'm tired, you know, but I'm always tired, you know, so. Or I could turn on the old playlist and, you know, make some stuff happen over here. And I generally feel better when I do that. I may not be in the mood for that, and that's why it's always good to have things that are in various stages of progression.
Right.
You know, it may be a night where I'm not really feeling like doing anything, but I have something that has a black background, and I can literally just paint in that black background. And I can finish that piece, and I can post that piece, and people will like it, don't like it, whatever, and I can say, I did it. And that's one more piece that's added to my portfolio.
Yeah, that even that small step, I feel like that's so valuable to know. Even a small step in the journey of creativity is valuable. You can either run a mile or take a step. Both are getting you towards your goals. Both are getting you toward that legacy that you want to leave behind, your creative legacy. Right on. Yeah, that's very inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's one of the best answers we've had so far.
I got all deep on y'all.
You really did. I love it.
I'm pretty sure the depth is just going to continue going on here.
I'm so much more than just a pretty face.
You really are. I mean, the pretty face was enough, but man, we're getting the whole Jonathan package.
And I think our next question is a great one for while you're in the deep thinking mood, isn't it, Allie?
It is. Alrighty, everybody. Tread water in the deep end. Here we go. So, our next question is, what advice would you have for other creatives?
Create what makes you happy. Don't get wrapped up in what's going to sell, because the market will find you.
Ooh, I like that. The market will find you.
You know my daughter Trinity.
Oh, I love Trinity.
Yes.
Trinity's art does not look anything like my art.
No, it does not.
And people ask her all the time when they know that she's my daughter, they're like, oh, did your dad teach you how to draw? She's like, he taught me nothing. And there's a reason for that, because I'm a terrible teacher. But also, I wanted her to draw her stuff. Don't draw what I draw what you draw. Okay? You know, John Romita and John Romita Jr., they have different styles, but they still draw the same type of stuff. You know, Emma Kubert and Adam and Andy Kubert, they same type of stuff. And her stuff is so dramatically different than mine. And my son Dominic's stuff is so dramatically different than mine. And I love that, because I don't want people to go, oh, you're Shawn's daughter. You know, I mean, yes, if it opens the door for you, by all means, go ahead. You know,
right.
But she gets recognition on her own. And don't feel like you have to draw what's popular. Don't feel like you have to draw what everybody wants. I mean, obviously, if if you're doing it for money, sure, throw some fan art out there that people will recognize, but use that as the gateway to your own creation.
Yeah.
And if you just want to draw original characters, do that. And it may take people longer to find you, but
they will find you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use social media. If social media had been around when I was first starting out, oh my. I mean, we would have been unstoppable, because as it stands now, people are accessible. I messaged Olivia about painting on wood, and she answered. And I'm like, yeah, fanboy. I've messaged Rob Liefeld, and he's answered.
Wow.
Larry Hama, people like that who I grew up idolizing their work. And they're super nice. They're super helpful. And if you get advice from somebody, take it, but make it fit you.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything's going to work for you. People can show me their techniques all day long, and it doesn't always work for you. One of the reasons I didn't live stream for so long when I was drawing is because I do it backwards. The traditional comic art is you pencil it, then you ink it, then you color it.
Right.
I barely lightly pencil it. I outline things with color pencils. If it's like, oh, I'm going to outline his shirt and he's wearing a green shirt, well, I'm going to outline it in dark green. And then I pretty much paint it with alcohol markers or acrylics or watercolors, and then I ink on top of that if I feel like I need to. And that's okay, because it's the end result, and the end result's not always what they see on the paper. It's the end result is what I feel when I'm done with it. Yeah, that looks awesome. Or, okay, yeah, I like that. That's fine. I'm not the biggest fan of my work, but that's because I do the thing, where you see your work and you're like, oh, that's where I messed up.
Oh, yeah. We're our own worst critics, right?
It's terrible. I just run with it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Well, the other side of that is I wanted to show my kids you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was growing up, my mom was super supportive. She loved everything I drew or painted or whatever, You guys have both met my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, not supportive. Has not been proud of anything I've done, or if he was, he surely didn't show it. Now, I get that there's generations that are like that,
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I was dragging him to cons with me, because even as a 40-something-year-old man, I still had that Gen X hardwired mentality of I really want my dad to be proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a time, he was like, wow, you actually do make a living at this. But when I was growing up, it was, you got to get a regular job or a real job.
Oh, I hate that term, the real job.
Right. See, I love how supportive your dad is.
Oh, yes, that's right. We've had our dads get to have play dates whenever we both bring them to cons. It was so much fun, because then my dad had somebody his age to play with while he wasn't helping me at my booth. And if you've ever come to a con that I've been at, you've probably met my dad. He's wonderful. He's a retired farmer who's now in training to be my assistant in the studio.
Oh, we love you, Dad.
He's awesome. And I love talking to him because I can see that he genuinely wants to be there to help you.
Yes.
And I used to be a little jealous of it.
Right.
But at the same point in time, I was like so happy that you had that.
And the fun part, too, is that after he's helped me set up, then my father becomes everyone's con dad.
Oh, he really is.
And is around for all of us, all of the ladies in my con life, that it's Katie's dad is here. If somebody's being creepy, we can send him over to their booth, and he just has this perfect gentleman way around him that he just makes everything a little bit cozy. Yeah. Suffice it to say, having supportive people in your life as a young creative is great. Getting to share our support with each other.
Yeah.
Because Shawn is kind of another one of our con dads
you
for
really
a lot
are.
of us younger creatives. It's Shawn's around, therefore we feel safe.
Yes. Very true.
But as a father of many, and you do have that positive dad energy. So
I'm gonna make you a shirt that says positive dad energy.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of that if somebody at the con needs positive dad energy, they do sort of gravitate towards your booth.
They really do.
Sometimes I feel like I probably am too nice, because, you know, I will sometimes get the people who want to hang out for 2 hours in front of my table.
Yeah.
And they somehow find a way to spread themselves out to, like, cover the whole table. And it's like, I love this, and I would love to talk to you about this later, but I'm seeing people who want to come up, and you want to make yourself accessible because, you know, in the con setting, you do have introverts, and you have extroverts, and you have every kind of vert, you know, and you want them to be able to come up. I've seen people, like, come by, and they're like, oh, he's talking to somebody, and they walk away, and I'm like, I'm talking to somebody, but I can multitask. And I think that's why I've got to get, like, dedicated show helpers. I was trying to do the thing where I make my kids be free labor, but that's not happening anymore.
Yeah,
although Mac will do it.
Yeah.
And I want my kids, I want them to, yes, obviously pay your bills.
Right.
You know, find something that makes you happy because, you know, in my life, I turned 40 and was miserable. You know, I was in a bad marriage. I had a lot going on. It was terrible. And nothing in my life made me happy except for my kids and making art. And I wasn't happy making art because I was catching a lot of verbal abuse about it. You know, my wife was like, I don't want you drawing any female characters. Okay. You know, you never draw me. No, I'm not doing that. Because if I make you look in any way, not the way you want to look, you're going to roast me. So no. I did draw her a couple of times. I had a salon owner in South Haven who, her salon was pinup themed.
Okay.
Cool.
So she paid me to do a bunch of vintage type pinup art, and I did one of them of my former wife. And she actually liked it. She thought it was cool. You know, she's like, okay, you drew me all right. I was like, oh, thanks. You know, but it was a situation where nothing I did would have made her happy in art because she was like, you need to get a real job. And I had a real job. I was in corporate banking at the time.
I think that's pretty real.
It's a pretty real job, you know, and I was going to work every day, sitting in the cubicle, hating life.
Okay, yeah, you do not get any more real than jobs that involve sitting in a cubicle.
Ugh,
that is the definition of the phantom real job.
Oh, y'all, I've done cubicle life before, and kudos to people who can do that. I have a lot of respect for you. I need to move. I'm so grateful that I have a job now that I get to move around and create.
The thing we're trying to get at here, dear listeners, is that creative fields and art of any kind can be a real job that one is gaining income from.
I heard it said on this, I think there's a bumper sticker or something I saw once that says, artwork is work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it might not be a typical job that follows the same kind of rules and has the same kind of compensation and corruption, etc., depending on what field you're in. But it is a real job, and I can't think of anyone who treats their art more like a real job than you do, Mr. I have 300 plus pieces in my portfolio, and I have this many more that I'm working on.
For real.
And
man.
It's like, that is
kind of called out here.
No, in a good way. I think this is your official Butter Squirrel assessment that your art side of things is definitely a real job at this point.
It has our, boom, stamp of approval.
Yes.
Butter Squirrel approved.
Yes.
Butter Squirrel?
You'll find out.
I'll find out. Do it.
Yeah.
And now your daughter's going off and starting her own business.
Right.
You and Allie have the same problem. You train your helpers so well that they go and start their own businesses, and then you don't have a helper anymore.
Well, Trinity started out helping me. It was funny because the first con that I ever did, Trinity and my daughter Sierra were helping me with that con the first day, and they were so happy to be there. And that made me happy because I was like, okay, because your mom's not on board with this. She thinks I just wasted $75 for the weekend. And, you know, here we are. And everybody told me going into doing cons, they're like, don't expect to make money. And I'm like, oh,
What?
then why are we doing it? You know?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I did, and it was okay. And my setup was so basic. I didn't have a tablecloth. I didn't have anything. I had 20 different prints laid out just flat on the table. And I was like, that's what I've got.
I think that's a good, especially for all of you younger creatives who are listening to this and are looking at getting in on coming to cons and things, seeing that even these really successful established artists like Shawn, that it's gonna look rough when you start out because you don't know what you're doing yet.
Right.
But people will pick up on that, and people feel like they're getting in on the ground floor with you.
True.
And then however, as it goes on, it evolves, and suddenly you are one of the landmarks that people use for guiding people through complicated areas. Because when I give directions to people at these events, it's usually so this table that's all the pink and sparkly and every sticker you can ever imagine is Allie.
Hello.
Allie is your landmark for this place.
Look, Mom,
and
I'm a
this
landmark.
one with all of the amazing sort of impressionist pinup comic book characters and Bob Ross with Baby Yoda is Shawn. These are your two landmarks for navigating the artist alley.
And look for the galactic tablecloth, the beautiful, shiny, sparkly stained glass, and the amazing sci-fi, family-friendly books. That's our friend Katie.
The very approachable booth too.
So
like you walk into it, you're immersed.
It's like a hug.
Yes.
Yeah, but again, getting to the point where you are a landmark in the artist alley is pretty cool.
I'm going to make another shirt. I just want to make all these shirts. I'm going to make one that says, I'm a landmark.
Well, I mean, seriously though, if with some con promoters out there, these are the kind of people you want as landmarks for where your artist alley begins, because it is that, distinctive. I have passed the resellers of all of the cool stuff that has been manufactured, and now I'm in artist alley because I have passed the signpost.
I'm just thinking of like the Willy Wonka music, the dun dun dun.
Yes, welcome to the world of pure imagination.
Basically.
And on the subject of pure imagination, I think it is time for our final question of our interview with Shawn. This is the one that we always anticipate the most. And if you've been listening for a while, y'all know exactly what's coming. To Allie, what is our final question for Shawn?
I'm so scared.
Ooh, y'all, I love this question. It's our favorite. What's your Venmo? Just kidding. No, it is. So we mentioned the butter squirrels earlier.
Yes, we are butter squirrels. You may have seen this on our logo. Allie and I personify our creative creature selves as a pair of adorable little squirrels with butterfly wings, because we flit around and we collect shiny things and we like nuts.
We're a little nuts, too.
We are a little nuts.
It's very accurate.
And when we were coming up with what creative creatures we want to be for the show, that idea came to us and it was an immediate, no, we are butter squirrels.
We are butter squirrels. So, we want to know, what sort of creative creature are you?
For some examples, in the past we have had a tiger with monarch butterfly wings, a meerkat cosplaying as an ocelot.
We had...
And
it was a she was a dolphin.
Cloud dolphin.
A cloud dolphin that's yellow.
A flying yellow dolphin with little mittens on that are like cloud wings. And you can probably guess, if you've listened to our past episodes, who all of those were. We're not going to spoil it for you. But Shawn, you also know the people that we've been interviewing. You can guess who's who. But what are we adding to our menagerie this week, Shawn? What kind of creative creature are you?
The thing that jumps out the most. Years ago, I used to bartend at Hard Rock Cafe on Beale.
Cool.
And I was a little bit older than most of the people who worked there, and I was a little bit bigger than most of the people who worked there. And all this that's here was up here at that time. And one of the servers referred to me as the cave troll because I always looked very mean. I know it's hard to believe, right? It's so hard to believe. But I used to have RBF pretty bad. But she was like, it's so funny because he looks like such a cave troll. but he's such a sweetheart. He'll do anything in the world for you, but, you know, you have to, like, still go ask, you know, and he doesn't look approachable, but he is. So I'm going to say I'm the cave troll.
You are a lovable cave troll.
I'm like Shrek.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Lovable cave troll.
Yeah, I see. I'm just
Love
imagining this big, cuddly, like grizzly bear with paint all over him.
I think like I
As
feel
part
like,
of that.
like moss on the back too, make him look all mountainy and everything.
Yeah.
Not that you have moss on your back.
I
but,
think
you know.
you're one of our first who's answered as more of a cryptid kind of creature
Yeah.
than
You
an
are
actual animal.
cryptid. I love
So,
it.
yeah, just this nice, lovable cave troll that is actually quite approachable now.
Yeah.
And has art supply residue.
And
Very
gives
Yeah.
good hugs.
Yeah.
I do. I try.
You do give good
Okay,
hugs.
there's you another t-shirt, Allie. Free cave troll hugs.
Yes. Okay, I need to start like a whole line of this.
But okay, so we've had our first cave troll.
Yeah.
In cave troll asterisk friendly or approachable.
Yes.
It's like, but again, that does get into that. We were talking, you have the positive dad vibes at cons and things. It's just, oh, this is the cave troll out of his cave displaying his art. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The cave is full of art.
Oh, I love it. Like little cave drawings and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
just-
Ooh.
He has emerged from the art cave
This
to
is-
come to our interview today.
This is
You know what? My playlist for when I'm in the studio is Art Cave.
Are you serious?
I kid you not.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is awesome. So thank you so much for emerging from the art cave, especially on, it's not as cold today as it was when we were potentially going to do this a couple weeks ago or
Yeah.
different things. And, you know, thank you for emerging on this somewhat cold day to come on the podcast with us and talk to us about your art and your process.
I
This
live,
has been
I live
s-
5 minutes away from you.
Yeah, yes, I know. Secretly, the cave is very close to Butter Squirrel headquarters.
Yeah.
This has
But-
been such a fun interview.
It
Thank you so
has.
much.
So-
I'm so glad
Shawn-
I was here.
We will have all of the links and things down in the description, but where all can our lovely audience find you?
Where's the cave?
Okay, where is the cave's
The
social
online
media
cave.
The
accounts,
social
website?
media, you can find me on Facebook, just by my government name, Shawn Howe. On Instagram, I'm at Shawnzilla Art, all one word. And on TikTok, I'm Shawnzilla77.
Ah, nice.
All right.
So we will have all those links down in. And Shawn, I know this episode is scheduled to come out at the beginning of February 2026, even though we're recording it at a mysterious time in the past. So for our listeners in the future,
Future.
do you have anything coming up the rest of February into March that you'd like to plug?
Oh yeah, I have the MidSouth Collectors Show and Bartlett coming up on February 28th. March begins March Madness.
Yes, March Madness.
Yes.
Let's go.
The Memphis region
I-
Conpalooza.
I know
Woohoo.
for certain that I'm doing 2 shows in March, which I'm also doing the promo art for both of them. I'm doing Haywood in Brownsville, Tennessee, and I am doing MidSouth Con.
I know Shawn's going to have on his social media where you can find him in different things. So thank you again so much for coming on the show, Shawn.
Thank you for having
We
me.
have absolutely loved having you on and getting to know your creative creature a little bit better. So thank you so much. And Allie?
And this has just been so much fun having you all to ourselves. You know, we're not having to compete with any of your customers
Yes,
right now.
we're not having to politely pause what we were saying and look like we are not and go back to our own booths so that you can talk to people. But it's so
seriously.
nice. And thank you so much for being one of our season 1 guests.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you at our next con or other event around town.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
see.
happy to have been here.
Yay, Shawn, Jonathan.
All right. And until next time on the Creative Corner, we will see y'all then.
Bye.
Future Katie here with your announcements for February 2026 when this episode is first being released. As Shawn said in our interview, he, Allie, myself, and our previous guest on the podcast, Alex Logan, will all be at the MidSouth Toy and Collectibles Show in Bartlett, Tennessee, part of the Memphis Amoeba, on February 28th. More links to that and information in the show notes.
We will also be recording a live episode of the PepTalk Creative Corner podcast at the show, so be sure to come on by to be part of our live audience. We're really looking forward to talking to our super secret mystery guest and sharing a bit more of their work with you.
As a little looking ahead towards March, Allie and I will also be at Haywood Comic Con in Brownsville, Tennessee, and MidSouth Con here in Memphis. More information for that can be found on the websites of those cons, links in the show notes. I hope you're having a great February, and we will see you next month for our next episode of the PepTalk Creative Corner podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and of course, if you want to keep up to date with us about new things coming out later this year, please visit our website, www.peptalkproductionsllc.com/PepTalk Creative Corner, and join our newsletter for free updates when we have cool stuff like this to tell you about. Thank you again so much for listening, and we will see you for our next episode. Bye! The PepTalk Creative Corner podcast is brought to you by PepTalk Productions, LLC and PepTalk Creative Arts. This podcast and all of its content are copyright 2025 PepTalk Productions, LLC. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any other person, agency, company, or organization. PepTalk Productions, LLC and the podcast hosts are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities resulting from the use of the information provided in this podcast. Do not rely on this content as medical, legal, or financial advice. Please consult a qualified professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. This episode may contain sponsored content or affiliate links. No AI was used in the creation of the contents of this podcast. You can find out more about the PepTalk Productions, LLC catalog of books and services, as well as the PepTalk Creative Corner podcast by going to our website, www.peptalkproductionsllc.com. Thank you for listening.